I'm not talking about
Hey,
that.
folks, it's Steve Wilmes, Matt Kita, and Joan. And we're here with another episode of the Risk Control Show. And today we're talking a little bit about this Massachusetts school. Oh, this is pitifully humorous. Uh,
What happened now?
well, so they went really energy conservationist. They went all out.
Yep.
They installed LED lights. Did I take a picture of
that's
that, Matt,
good.
yesterday? The LED lights.
I don't know.
I have to look here. So they installed LED lights all over all their schools in their district. Okay? Brilliant in many ways. Brilliant. And they got this firm who is really cool and created this software. I did take a picture of this. I'm going to send it to myself real quick so I can show everybody.
I thought you took a picture of those the copper wire relays. I wasn't sure if you got the lights.
Yeah, the ballast. Yeah. So anyway, they got this software, and the software is to control all the lights in the schools. Time that comes on, time that comes off, blah, blah, blah. Okay? So the software is not written properly. So the lights never go off.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So some of the directors of maintenance, operation, the custodians, they're looking for the on and off switch so they can manually shut it down. Guess what? Joan,
There's no on and off switch?
There is none. No on and off switch.
So the lights have been on constantly for 18 months. Constant.
Why isn't there an on and off switch?
Yeah, why?
That's a very good question,
it's a
Joan.
click of a button, right?
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Sounds simple,
So
doesn't it?
are they really saving any money with the LED lights?
No.
No.
And they're not saving any energy either.
Yep.
And yeah, they're spending thousands and thousands of dollars a
How is there? They have light switches all over.
Here's what happened. So the software company says they're going to do a fix, and then they sell the software company. And the new company says, we'll do a fix, and then they sell the software company. And then they say, we'll do a fix, and they sell the software company. So the school district has been bamboozled out of all kinds of money, and the software is terrible. And it reminds me of this quote I was listening to. I was watching.
That still doesn't make. I'm sorry, Steve, but it's something still doesn't make sense.
Really?
Yes, it doesn't make sense because the LED lights are connected to the electricity that are at the buildings, and there should be an on and off switch. So that seems like more of an engineering problem for an electrician than just software.
Yeah.
What did they do? Just made everything a smart school, and they just took out all of the switches and the plugs.
They just bypassed all the switches for whatever reason, because when you pull out if you pull out the old T8 light bulbs, the old fluorescent light bulbs, you have to pull out the ballast, and they're direct connects for the LEDs, because the ballast is actually what excites the gas inside the old bulbs.
Right.
Okay. But LEDs don't need that. They're just direct current connections. And so this school district, you have to remember that if you were to go outside and throw the main switch, that you also shut down all the computers, all the alarms, all the server systems and air conditioning and everything else that goes along with it.
Yeah, but that still doesn't make sense, because
I know.
Everything has its own hub connection. You still need electricity.
Yeah, I'm gonna put this
up
real quick.
Sorry, but that's me and my simple mind thinking, why is that happening?
I think the simplicity you're talking about is exactly the right approach, Joan. I think there's definitely something in here where the district needed to find a way to address this and not wait for the software company. Like at some point, I think they kind of decided, they handed this off. What we always talk about.
There has to be a fail safe. There has to be something, a backup, you have backups for all kinds of things.
Right,
So there has to be a workaround or something. And even with software, there has to be a workaround or something that allows you, because you can't have everything connected to in one spot.
Right.
I mean,
does it make sense that you
7,000 lights. 7,000 lights in this
that
high
doesn't make
school.
sense to me. Okay. Doesn't make sense to me.
I know, it's ridiculous. And so you have to say, like, where does the incompetence come from? But this is really one of those challenges for the IT team too. And so anyway, this quote in this movie the other night was, just because it's new doesn't mean it's better.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what we keep dealing with over and over again when it comes to this silly IT stuff. I was just, sometimes it's like, why do I have to answer 15 things over and over and over? Like, who's programming this IT stuff? But this is one of those examples where you get a company, the IT, from a risk management standpoint, you need to get your IT people involved, and they need to have a level of competence in order to assess a system to determine whether or not it is capable of handling what you need to. So many times people are approaching M&O, they're approaching the superintendent, and they're like, hey, this is great. We're going to put LED lights in. It's going to save all this money. It's going to be great, and boom. And then you have this major catastrophe like this, 18 months worth of electric bills for no reason, So Matt and I were out yesterday at a district, and we did training. Let me back up. We did training a couple weeks ago at a district, and sure enough, the district is in the process of going to these LED lights, and so they have to pull all these ballast out. And we were talking about the environmental impact of these ballast and how much is there. And I took a picture.
Because you don't want to, those ballasts. Now, is that the part that holds the lights in place, or is that the actual tube?
No, the tubes, the ballast is above the light fixture or inside the light fixture, and it's what excites the gas, makes the molecules move so that you get light from the old bulbs. And so those have to be taken out. And go ahead, Matt. Tell her what we saw while I look for this real quick. I thought I sent it to myself.
So we saw a pile of these ballasts and lights just sitting there, and they're just going to go into the trash.
That's hazardous waste.
It was e-waste, and they had to deal with that. And we were going like, well, what's that? These are perfectly good. Like Steve picked up one and said this one has so much life left in it, and it's just being discarded. So when we think about these technology issues, we're kind of going, it's not only just that whether it's right to do it better, but then we're discarding things that could still have a useful life in another capacity. And it just adds to the continual waste and the cost to the district and to clean up. And it's just an endless cycle of money that goes into nothing, really.
Right. Absolutely. Wow. Yeah, so I shared this with you. That's what it looks like. And you can kind of see here on Zoom. I'll drop it over here as well. Boom, there we go. But yeah, you can see this, right? These are all the ballast, and this is a big crate, and this is just a few of them. So imagine taking 7,000 of these out of the system. You have all this copper wire, all this plastic, all this metal, and everything inside the ballast, which, as you just indicated, hazardous waste has to be properly disposed of, recycled, all that kind of stuff, right? And so you're just looking at it and you're going, at what point does it make sense to take those bulbs and replace them, and especially when you get software issues like this.
Oh my gosh, so they just, what is it? How many times over did they
Well, we
They
don't
didn't save
know.
any money. And how long is it going to take once they get it fixed? How long is it going to be until they get a return on that investment?
Oh,
Oh, wow.
oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
that's
it's just it just seems like it's just ridiculous at this point. They've lost so much.
right.
How can they ever recoup that now?
Yes, indeed. That is the
Yep.
question.
Yep.
And so,
Yep.
again, like so many times we don't want to involve the right people. How many times do we see that at our districts, Matt, where it's
Someone
like,
someone needs to write a white paper on that. And
why do a white
and
paper when you can do a podcast, Joan?
well, and podcast, publish, do it. I mean, all around. Teach it in a class. This is what you're not supposed to do. This is a bad project management. This is bad. This is poor thoughts on
Well,
you're
how
not
many
supposed
times
to
do
do
we
this
see
when you're
it?
trying to save money or
Yeah,
create or recycle.
yeah. It's just,
That's just bad. That's
it,
really, really awful. Oh,
yeah,
I would hate to be the person who came up with that idea or who signed off on that.
Right.
yeah, me
Right.
too. So if you are in these positions where you are considering these big projects, energy, even if they're small projects, you really got to get all the players involved. So many times we see
Yes.
this where the risk managers are left out. They don't explore to any great detail what's involved. And I'm the first to tell you, like especially online learning management, like we got platforms. They're great platforms. They do a lot. But sometimes when you have a system already, it's just better to buy our single training and plug it into your system,
Yeah.
right? Because of all of the downside of having to coordinate 2 systems, 3 systems, that kind of stuff. So uh, people need to be honest with you, and you need to pull in the right team to look at this stuff. Your IT guy, your risk manager, everybody involved. Don't just think that because somebody's whispering in your ear, it's going to be perfect all the time. It's not, and this is a prime example of that. And IT, you need to get on top of it. You got to get on top of it. I'm just looking at this thing too.
Wow.
These work from home cheats. We got so many people working from home now. I'm sure you guys are aware of this. But
Yeah.
your mouse jigglers. They got little dongles that you can plug into your computer, and it will pretend that it's working. You got these Excel spreadsheet cheats where you can it will basically create documents for you and do all kinds of crazy stuff. It's just unreal. So people don't they say people don't want to work and we're real productive, but here's an example. They're very productive at finding ways not to work.
Hey, Steve, I don't know if everybody's going to know what a mouse jiggler is. Can you
I
explain a
showed
little
it
bit
on
about
the
how that
screen.
works? Oh,
And
did you?
basically,
Right
Okay.
back.
you take your mouse. Joan's gonna buy one right now. You take your mouse, and it's got like a little LED screen, and it basically, because you don't need to have the old style mouse pads for the mouse to recognize that it's moving.
Right.
You set your
Right.
mouse on it, and then it will run patterns, and it'll run them, in all
It's a,
directions to make your mouse look like it's doing work. And
sometimes I think, Steve, that the most ingenious methods are put together for exactly this kind of purpose, right? People think of the most amazing things to get out of doing work or
right,
to do something a little bit more fun than they should, or
yeah,
it's just incredible to me.
yeah. Actually, I'd like to know the actual people that worked on these projects, because I'd love to hire them to help us design some really cool, training stuff and other projects. I mean, it's just phenomenal. But yeah, well, folks, don't forget to check us out on the Risk Control Show here. We have our Udemy courses that you can find all kinds of great courses. Our Dollar Training Club, we have the new COVID prevention program out there. Don't forget to check out our blog where we write, well, Matt writes a lot more about these topics. And, you know, I was also going to just share, I know Joan is working on a lot of different little programs that, you know, have come up. The homicidal threat training under SB 906, the COVID prevention program. So, you know, if you want to reach out to Joan and get on board, I know she is convinced me now that we need to offer, I tell her all the time, like, hey, we got the best pricing and we do amazing work. And Joan just tells me all the time that we got to offer new clients something. And so we're offering 20% off to all our new clients. So
yeah. There you go.
So contact Joan, get yourself set up for a little bit of training, some audits, all that stuff. But the COVID prevention program is huge right now. You got to have that done. They just passed that from temporary to permanent standard. And also the SB 906 homicidal threats. And that one is due by July. The problem there is that if you don't get it done by July, everybody's going to go on summer break and then come back and you're going to be out of compliance. So get that done. Contact Joan. That's SB 906. So, all right. That's all I got. We'll talk to you all later.